Welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, Tucson, Arizona's #1 online radio podcast about all things medical cannabis. Your host, Belle,
and the Cannabis Kid. Our show features news, interviews, and all the latest information about anything and everything medical cannabis related in Tucson, Arizona, and the world at large.
We'd love to hear from you. Please give us a call live at 646-915-8421. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on all social media, or email thctucson@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Cannabis Health Center and Studio C, along with our many sponsors, for hosting our show every week. With the lowest price certifications in town, you'll find hemp products, accessories, and all things related to medical cannabis education.
Visit Tumbleweeds Health Center at 4826 East Broadway Boulevard or online at tumbleweedshealthcenter.com. And remember,
Be smart,
be safe,
and educate.
All right, welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. Woo! How's everybody doing today? Oh my gosh, Wednesday, January 21st already. Oh, Lordy be. I know it. We're almost done with the first month. All right, which leads me to, I know you all seriously want to know, how many days until Christmas? Come on, how many? 338 days until Christmas. 339 until it's over. Weedsday Wednesday, your Christmas report. Yeah, Christmas. Right. January 21st, getting ready for Christmas. That's crazy. Yep, that's right, January. We are sliding into almost 14 years of Weedsday Wednesday. Yeah. 14 years, almost.
If you suffer from one of these medical conditions and have been diagnosed by an Arizona licensed physician, medical cannabis may help relieve your symptoms. Tumbleweeds Health Center is Arizona's premier cannabis certification, health, and education center. Our primary focus is to help the patients of Arizona obtain their medical marijuana card and educate everyone about medical cannabis. With current medical records, approval is a simple process. Contact Tumbleweeds Health Center to see if you qualify for your Arizona medical marijuana card. You suffer from...
Oh, yeah, this thing. I got to figure this thing out. It's crazy. It's supposed to stop, but obviously it doesn't. And I found emojis down here. Woohoo! There's some crazy things. I wish that it would blow up a little more. Oh, here's a goat. Is that a goat? I don't know what that is. Oh, it looks like a goat. Oh, there we go. I can blow it up a bit over here. Yeah, these are some crazy. Oh, here's some popcorn. I mean, there's some crazy things going on. Saturn, which is my planet. And now I can't get it to collapse. All right. Alrighty then. There we go. All right. Welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, your place for news, information, strain reviews. Yeah. Anyone out there smoking the stizzies, the blunts, or the little, what do they call them? 40s. Oh, they call the other ones the 40s too. But these are nice little tiny joints. You get, I think, 5 of them in there in a little pack. It's in a little glass jar. I don't know what's better. Is glass better for the environment? Is the plastic? Because the paper doesn't, you can't use I don't know if all their plastic is recyclable either. Really got to work on that, you guys. Dispensaries out there. I don't know if some of them have I think some dispensaries have a recycling program. If you bring back containers or whatnot, you get discounts, which would be cool because these little things, they add up if you smoke them a lot. I don't, but if you do, I randomly go grab one once in a while. And it's a nice little glass jar. I mean, you can keep, if you roll your own joints that are, kind of small, you can keep them in there too. So I don't know. Very reasonable at home, I guess. I guess that's where I'm going with that one. Happy Weedsday Wednesday. All right. Yes. And you heard the part of the commercial. If you want to get certified, you can get on over to tumbleweedshealthcenter.com. We do offer telemedicine, just to let you know right out the gate. If you can't come in, don't want to come in, are late and you just want to stay where you are, you can do that. But you do have to fill out some paperwork online. That's been the way since we've always had the telemedicine. We've got a very simple little form to fill out. You do have to get us your picture and your attestation, but it's very simple. So you can go to the telemedicine section on tumbleweedshealthcenter.com. All right, so we're on the certification section. You can book an appointment right there. And here are the conditions that you can get your card for. And don't worry, if you don't hear your condition on here, don't worry, because Arizona has a clause and it makes most conditions certifiable. But this one, PTSD, you have to have your own records. It's got to be in the last 12 months. You got to have it. Cancer, glaucoma, AIDS. If you have a lot of these conditions, you're going to already have seen a doctor. So just bring in what you have. Even if it's, a year or two old, 3 or 4 or 5 years old, it shows that you've had it for a while. Just bring it in. Some of these conditions just don't go away. They don't change. Chronic pain covers a ton of conditions. Fibromyalgia, migraines, DDD, arthritis, RA, all the arthritis problems, IBS, leg cramps, muscle cramps, menstrual cramps. Yep, Queen Elizabeth used to use this for her menstrual cramps. Severe nausea, seizures, including epilepsy, all seizures though, HIV, Hep C, ALS, Crohn's disease, agitation of Alzheimer's, and dementia. And I think there are 20-something types of Alzheimer's in between all that. Cachexia or wasting syndrome, severe and persistent muscle spasms, including MS, multiple sclerosis. So here's the kicker here. If you didn't hear your condition on here, don't worry. Maybe your condition causes something like nausea or chronic pain or seizures, or muscle spasms, or wasting syndrome. Some of these conditions that, are medications or treatment that you're going through can cause a lot of stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. If you didn't hear your condition on here, but your medication or your treatment's causing one of these, then you can get your medical marijuana card. Alrighty.
These medical conditions and have been diagnosed by an Arizona licensed physician, medical cannabis may help relieve your symptoms. Tumbleweeds Health Center is Arizona's premier cannabis certification, health, and education center. Our primary focus is to help the patients of Arizona obtain their medical marijuana card and educate everyone about medical cannabis. With current medical records, approval is a simple process. Contact Tumbleweeds Health Center to see if you qualify for your Arizona medical marijuana card.
Chronic conditions holding you back from a happy, healthy life? Get on the right track with Tumbleweeds Health Center. Our CBD products are formulated to fit your health lifestyle.
I would definitely say that CBD has changed my life. I mean, I don't worry about my dog anymore, and I don't worry about sleeping anymore.
Tumbleweeds Health Center, voted #1 health center in Tucson, has created a proprietary number of CBD blends, each designed to promote health and well-being. Let Tumbleweeds Health Center show you how CBD products might help you improve your life the natural way.
Yeah, give us a call, 520-838-4430. You can come down, 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. We are inside the Good Leaf now, so come on in. We're right next to Bookman if you know these landmarks here that I'm talking about. If not, like I said, we do offer telemedicine. Just get online, tumbleweedshealthcenter.com, and we will get you certified. All right. Here comes the news. Let's see what's going on in the world of weed. All right. Top stories. And this is from Cannabis Business Times. Top stories. Sam contributes $1.55 million to Massachusetts cannabis prohibition campaign. Smart approaches to marijuana. That's what that is. Let's see. Let's just do a little reading. See what's going on here. Smart approaches to marijuana single-handedly funded the signature drive for a 2026 ballot proposal to end adult use sales in the Commonwealth. The most notorious cannabis prohibition organization in the U.S. is financing the push to eliminate the licensed and regulated adult use program in Massachusetts. Smart Approaches to Marijuana, SAM, Action Inc., contributed $1.55 million in the fourth quarter of 2025 to the Coalition for a Healthy Massachusetts, Inc., according to a campaign disclosure report filed this week. No other entities contributed funding to the coalition. The coalition spent $1.44 million of that funding to collect 78,301 valid signatures, which Secretary of the Commonwealth William Galvin's office certified last month, moving the group one step closer to landing its petition on the 2026 ballot. The petition proposal would end the state's $1.6 billion use market. The petition proposal would end the state's $1.6 billion adult use market, including dispensary, cultivation, and manufacturing operations. The petition, quote, an act to restore a sensible marijuana policy, that's what it says, quote, would also recriminalize personal cultivation. Adults 21 and older are currently allowed to grow up to 6 plants, but no more than 12 plants per household for personal use in their private residences, like we are here in Arizona. However, possessing up to 1 ounce of cannabis or 5 grams of concentrate would remain decriminalized for those 21 and older. This aligns with SAM policies to discourage cannabis use while supporting laws that remove criminal sanctions for low-level possession. While SAM is a 501c3 charitable organization that promotes science and education through tax-deductible donations, its affiliate, SAM Action, is a 501c4 social welfare organization whose funding comes from non-tax deductible donations, allowing the group to lobby and advocate for healthy marijuana policies that do not legalize drugs, quote. Donors to 501c4 organizations like SAM Action can remain anonymous, according to the group. Its funding comes primarily from individuals whose lives have been negatively impacted by drugs. Well, mine has. I mean, big time. But here I am hosting a weed show. I mean, come on, guys. You got to look at stuff from different angles. You know, things happen. We don't always understand why. Addiction is addiction. It's crappy. And a lot of things happen out there that we don't like. I'm not going to go into my own personal story, but I can tell you that it's sad sometimes out there. I know that personally. So anyway, donors, let's see, SAM president and CEO Kevin Sabet, co-founder, the charitable arm of the organization, served in the White House official Office of National Drug Control Policy under the administrations of George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton. Last month, when President Donald Trump signed an executive order directing U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi to quickly finish the process of reclassifying cannabis from a Schedule I to Schedule III drug, Sabet responded on social media, expressing his disappointment in the president's decision to loosen restrictions on the plant. In his response video, Sabet also called attention to SAM Action's state-by-state effort to end voter-approved legalization laws. Quote, now, today, for the first time, I can also announce our multi-million-dollar led support for 2 grassroots campaigns to end marijuana sales and commercialization in Maine and Massachusetts, he said. We still have the power to take back our public health. Sheesh. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows approved a similar ballot proposal last month to start circulating and collecting signatures for either the 2026 or 2027 ballot. Maine has a roughly $250 million annual adult use marketplace. Yeah, now. In both Massachusetts and Maine, there have been complaints that anti-cannabis signature gatherers use deceptive tactics to trick voters into signing their prohibition petitions. In Massachusetts, the State Ballot Law Commission held a hearing last week to investigate the claims that signature gatherers use deceptive tactics to mislead voters. The Prohibition Campaign's legal counsel argued that there's not enough evidence to disqualify the 3,727 signatures needed to drop the campaign below the required threshold at this process. Now that the state secretary's office transmitted the cannabis prohibition proposal to the Massachusetts legislature, state lawmakers have until May 5th to consider enacting the proposal legislatively. If lawmakers don't act by the 5th, then the campaign has until July 1st to collect another 12,429 signatures required to place the question on the November 2026 ballot. In Maine, Belle said last week that the circulators are protected by First Amendment rights and are allowed to lie to voters to mislead them into signing a petition to end cannabis dispensary sales. What? Wow. That is insane, if that's even true. Quote, you have a right to lie under the First Amendment, the Secretary of State said, so I do not have authority to take any enforcement action over the truth of what is being said. Quote, whoa. On, January 14th, Bellow's office issued a statement on social media warning voters of the complaints, letting them know that once they sign a petition, their signatures cannot be removed. As a reminder, quote, voters must have an opportunity to read the initiative summary and full text of the proposed legislation prior to signing a petition, according to the office. Quote, we encourage every citizen to think about what they're signing and what it means, why they're signing it, and to always take the time to read the summary and legislation before signing any petition. I myself, as Belle Starr, will not sign anything unless I read it in its entirety. And they never have anything in its entirety. They're like, well, all we have to have is 150 words. Yeah, 150 words that you don't even know the rest of it. I would hope you would, so people wouldn't be, quote, lied to. Quote, all right, while Sabbath and Sam Action is financially supporting the campaigns in Massachusetts and Maine, campaign finance activity in Maine has not yet been released. In addition, Arizona prohibitionists recently launched a campaign to roll back their voter-approved cannabis legalization laws. The petition, the Sensible Marijuana Policy Act for Arizona, needs to collect 255,949 valid signatures to put a question before voters to end their state's $1 billion adult use program. These 3 initiatives will aim to repeal what voters already passed. Massachusetts voters legalized adult use with a 53.7% majority in 2016. Maine voters legalized with a 50.3% in 2016. And Arizona legalized with 60% in 2020. So there you have it, folks. So yeah, maybe we'll find out what's going on with this campaign to roll back their voter-approved legalization law. Oh, people like their pot. You better leave the weed alone. That's all I gotta say. People love their weed. They do. They really do. All right. Let's see what's going on. What else is going on in the world of weed? All right. Do we have any bloggers out there? Nope, just me and all my silly little emojis or whatever these things are. They're funny because they're all sorts of just seriously weird, random photos of things. I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's a buffering. It looked like a pistol if someone was a revolver if someone were pointing it at you. Woohoo. Okay, so there you have it. Oh, and then there's the people. So, wow, there are all sorts of things going on. Peace signs. I don't usually play with this stuff because it's new. All right, see what else is going on in the world of weed before we get to our little break. Okay, there was something about, where was it? Here it is. Oh, heavy hangs the head that wears the helmet. NFL players open up about psychedelic use. All right, so there's a football on the lawn with a superimposed picture of mushrooms behind it. Hee hee. I love that. Heavy hangs the head that wears the helmet. All right, what happens when the stereotype of the NFL player, tough and strong and impenetrable, cracks? When bodies train for collision force and victories slow down for a moment, open up and start talking about pain, vulnerability, and the role psychedelics play in life off the field. That was the story shared by 3 NFL players: Jordan Poyer of the Buffalo Bills, Robert Gallery, formerly of the Raiders, and John Feliciano of the San Francisco 49ers, during a panel at the massive psychedelic science conference titled, quote, Healing Behind the Highlights, quote. And it was held in Denver, Colorado a few months ago, and they spoke candidly about their experiences. This is moderated by Aubrey Marcus. The conversation set out to explore how certain psychedelic experiences impact the lives and health of NFL players, without filters, touching on topics many wouldn't expect to hear discussed in this context: identity, relationships, trauma, healing, and more. The impact you don't see: hits, concussions, and brain damage. Professional football is one of the most physically demanding sports in existence, especially to the brain. Every play combines speed, mass, and violent contact, inevitably leading to injuries, often repeated, that can result in serious brain damage. While figures vary depending on the source, scientific analysis reports 692 concussions in the NFL between 2019 and 2023, underscoring just how common this type of trauma is among players. 692, almost 700 concussions. Holy Toledo. The range, and those are probably the ones, that the big ones. The range of damage caused by repeated impacts is broad. Beyond acute concussions, there's a condition that deeply concerns researchers and players, families alike, called CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, whatever. We'll just call it CTE. I'll figure out how to pronounce that one on the break. Lord. This neurodegenerative. Oh my God, I can't pronounce anything today. I'm so sorry. This neurodegenerative. Oh my God, this disease associated with repeated head impacts has historically been identified primarily through autopsy. Still, scientific evidence has advanced enough to confirm that repeated blows to the head are linked to the long-term cognitive and behavioral problems. This is more than theory. Researchers have studied more than 1,000 donated brains and found clear links between repeated impacts and neurological changes affecting memory, mood, and decision-making. Why psychedelics? Well, at the intersection of science, culture, and personal experience, some players are exploring alternatives that go beyond conventional pharmaceuticals or physical therapy. For Poyer, Feliciano, and Gallery, the panel became an invitation to talk about identity, mind-body connection, family relationships, alcohol use, and life after football. What ultimately connected all three was the use of psychedelics, such as ayahuasca, as tools to explore internal territory that conventional medicine still struggles to fully explain or address. One influential figure in this movement, though not present at the panel, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, has spoken publicly about how his ayahuasca experience, quote, changed his life. Quote, he has said they helped his performance during key moments of his career and has even advocated for the decriminalization of psychedelics. Statements that sparked controversy and widespread debate across sports media. What does the science say? While cultural narratives around athletes' spirituality, healing, and self-discovery are gaining momentum, scientific evidence regarding psychedelics and traumatic brain injury remains preliminary. Promising animal research suggests that compounds such as psilocybin and DMT may promote neuroplasticity, new neural connections, and reduce inflammation, which could theoretically benefit brains exposure to repeated trauma. However, experts caution that there's no clear evidence in humans yet, at least not from large-scale clinical trials or robust neuroimaging studies. One key challenge in this research is separating the effects of the chemical compounds themselves from the effects of ritual and context. Ceremonial environments, participant expectations, and guided support. Some scientists argue that the ritual experience may amplify or even explain a significant portion of the perceived benefits. NFL player Adrian Colbert said that ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica with Rogers and Poyer changed his life, marking a turning point in how he related anger and self-image. Meanwhile, public figures like Kyle Turley, a former NFL player, have sparked discussion around the use of cannabis to treat neurological issues after retirement. This shows that the search for alternative therapies among athletes isn't limited to a single substance or approach. And while the focus here is on the NFL, psychedelic use has also surfaced in other sports. Hockey, mixed martial arts, surfing are among them, where athletes have spoken about how these experiences helped them cope with chronic pain, anxiety, or major career transitions. I bet it's very difficult to transition out of something like that, like the NFL, where you're just steeped in it. Woof. The conversation that unfolded in Denver wasn't just about psychedelics or even football. It was about the vulnerability that exists between the helmet and the muscle. When elite athletes speak openly about emotions, identity, and unconventional tools for healing, it signals a deeper cultural shift. Science still can say these substances, quote, heal brain damage, but what it does, can't say that they heal brain damage. Look at me, I'm trying. But what it does show is that research is expanding, cultural acceptance is shifting, and the boundaries between medicine, spirituality, and self-knowledge are becoming increasingly blurred. Well, you know what isn't blurred? Woohoo!
I'm gonna smoke some weed. $100 in my pocket. I'm a hunt, looking for a pot shop. So, walk into my house like, what up? I got some good pop. Now I'm just pumped up, got some herb from the pop shop. Ice in my fridge, it used to be frosty. My friends like, damn, that's a storm nest, okay. Rolling in hella high, looking like it's FIFA time. Dominating all my friends as I eat some chili fries. Draped in the snuggie with my girl sitting next to me. Probably should have had a big bowl full of iced tea. But shit, it was 99 cents. I be blazing and smoking, about to go and get some munchies. Back backing up on those crackers, check pieces of where it's at. Gotta get me some soda pop. Got enough has been creeping up, but can't remember where I put my keys. Yeah, that's what's up. I'ma take your grandpa's ride. No, for real. Ask your grandpa, can I take a 65 to Bill cruising to my local Publix? Nothing better than rolling with two super fly chicks that have frozen burritos. I bought frozen burritos. I bought some Ben and Jerry's, and then I bought some Cheetos. Hello, my main man Obama. A couple states have just reformed their laws on marijuana. What you gonna do? Send the feds there? Hell no. The DPAs will be like, oh, they got volcanoes. I'm gonna smoke some weed. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm a hunt, looking for a pot shop. This is fucking awesome. I'm gonna smoke some weed. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm a hunt, looking for a pot shop. This is fucking awesome. What you know about the science of marijuana? What you know about people suffering from glaucoma? They need it. It helps them with their condition. If you don't believe me, then just ask some high physicians. Think your granddad for voting for that guy. Richard Nixon is the president who made the plant illegal. But science is now showing that it's medicine for people, and the private sector's fighting to keep all of that illegal. Alcohol and tobacco, pharmaceutical prisons. I'll take those 4 major lobby groups and fight those motherfuckers. They're making money day and night. All those motherfuckers. And bribing powers out of sight. All those motherfuckers. They be like, oh, it's immoral and unhealthy. I'm like, how many people are you making well? Anti-marijuana lobbies are making all kinds of profits, and they don't want you to stop because of all the special interest. I call that getting swindled and pimped shit. I call that getting tricked by the government. That law's hella old, so it's time to update it, regulate it, and then get it under state control. Peak the game, look into my political telescope. Think it's gonna stay like this forever? Nah, hella won't. Not hella won't. Hey, Obama, stop being a hypocrite. You used to smoke weed, fool. I'm gonna smoke some weed. I got $20 in my pocket. I'm a run, looking for a pot shop. This is fucking awesome. Listen, no more on drugs. It's time to pull the plug. These special interest groups are nothing more than corporate thugs. Let's send no more on weed. The people have agreed. These special interest groups are just these laws for private. I'm gonna put some weed. Oh, yeah, when I'm in my pocket. I'm looking for a pot shop. This is fucking awesome.
All right, welcome back to Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. January 21st already. I can't even believe it. Beautiful days ahead. It's 45 now. It's a tad cold for us. But we're going to have a high of 70 today. Yeah. I know, that's really nice. Woohoo. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Napa Valley. That's where I'm from. High of 58. Oh my Lord. Tombstone. High of 66. Wow. All right. There you have it, folks. There's your weather report for places that I'm interested in. I know, dork. All right. Let's see what's going on. Hey, if you want to get your medical marijuana card, you can do so. TumbleweedsHealthCenter.com. Well, you can't do it there. You can do part of it there. Get on over if you don't want to come into the shop. Come see our beautiful, beautiful store at 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. Come check us out. If not, we have a telemedicine section. Go to TumbleweedsHealthCenter.com. Click on the telemedicine. There'll be a form. Well, actually, there'll be another button that you have to click. And there's a form you have to fill out. And then you come and we send you a link to see our doctor via your whatever you're on, computer, iPad, phone. Some people do it from their phone. However you want to do it. Just make sure it's a clear connection and we can hear you. So it's not like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? That's what my connection would be like. Are you there? Are you there? All right. All right. If you want to get your medical marijuana card in the great state of Arizona, please come see us. Let's see. Here are the conditions: PTSD, cancer, glaucoma, AIDS. Oh, excuse me. Chronic pain covers a lot of conditions. You just have to check with us. If you've got pain, check with us. I'm sure it's covered by that. Chronic, though, 60 days. So that's the only caveat to that. Severe nausea, seizures, including epilepsy, but all seizures, HIV, Hep C, ALS, Crohn's disease, agitation of Alzheimer's, dementia, all the Alzheimer's in between, cachexia, wasting syndrome, severe and persistent muscle spasms, including multiple sclerosis. And don't worry, if you didn't hear your condition specifically, but it is causing one of these things like seizures, nausea, pain, spasms, waste syndrome. I mean, there's some meds that you're taking can cause cancer and all sorts of stuff. You can still get your card. Just give us a call, and we will help get you certified.
You suffer from one of these medical conditions and have been diagnosed by an Arizona licensed physician, medical cannabis may help relieve your symptoms. Tumbleweeds Health Center is Arizona's premier cannabis certification, health, and education center. Our primary focus is to help the patients of Arizona obtain their medical marijuana card and educate everyone about medical cannabis. With current medical records, approval is a simple process. Contact Tumbleweeds Health Center to see if you qualify for your Arizona medical marijuana card.
Chronic conditions holding you back from a happy, healthy life? Get on the right track with Tumbleweeds Health Center. Our CBD products are formulated to fit your health lifestyle.
I would definitely say that CBD has changed my life. I mean, I don't worry about my dog anymore, and I don't worry about sleeping anymore.
Tumbleweeds Health Center, voted #1 health center in Tucson, has created a proprietary number of CBD blends, each designed to promote health and well-being. Let Tumbleweeds Health Center show you how CBD products might help you improve your life the natural way. Chronic conditions.
Give us a call, 520-838-4430. You can even email us at thctucson@gmail.com. You can come down to 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. Yeah, just come on down. Check it out. All right, let's see what else is going on in the world. This was interesting. WTF, New Jersey. Lawmakers want to criminalize legacy weed buyers again. Okay, let's see what this is all about. WTF, New Jersey. Now, a top state lawmaker has floated a bill that walks straight back towards punishing the buyer. In the new 2026-2027 session, New Jersey Senate President Nick Scutari has reintroduced S 3171, a measure that would create a disorderly person's offense for anyone who knowingly purchases marijuana from a business that is not licensed by the State Cannabis Regulatory Commission. The bill's own statement spells out the penalty: up to 6 months in jail, a fine of $1,000, or both. It's not law yet. It's been introduced and referred to a committee, but the direction is the point. The legal market is being protected by aiming the muzzle at the consumer. So what does it actually do? S 3171 creates new layers of criminal exposure around unlicensed cannabis activity, including both sellers and purchasers. For operators, it adds a third-degree crime for owners of businesses that are not licensed by the CRC, who manufacture, distribute, or dispense any quantity of marijuana. It also creates a second-degree offense for someone deemed a, quote, leader of an illegal marijuana business network, quote, defined as an organizer, supervisor, financier, or manager operating across more than one business location. For consumers, it draws a clean line. If you knowingly purchase marijuana from an unlicensed business, that manufactures, distributes, or dispenses marijuana that purchases itself becomes a criminal offense. The bill also authorizes the New Jersey State Police, working with the Attorney General's office, to close violating businesses and seize cannabis connected to those violations. If your reaction is, well, wait, didn't we legalize this? You are reading it correctly. The problem with criminalizing the buyer, the state can call it, quote, market enforcement, quote. In practice, it reintroduces something legalization was supposed to retire. The idea that person purchasing cannabis is a criminal actor. Supporters will argue it is targeted because the bill uses the word, quote, knowingly, quote, but that is not a comfort blanket. In real life, knowingly can turn into a game of who looks obvious, who gets stopped, who gets searched, and who gets made an example of. New Jersey does not need to restart the old cycle where enforcement discretion becomes the policy. And there's a second order effect that's easy to miss. Consumer criminalization does not magically convert illicit market consumers into legal market customers. It can do the opposite. It pushes behavior deeper into the shadows, increases fear around testing and safety, and turns public health into a compliance problem. If the goal is to shrink illicit sales, the more durable tools are boring ones. Licensing that moves faster, retail access that feels normal, pricing and taxes that do not punish the legal buyer, and quality control that is visible and trusted. A policy built around punishing demand is the lazy lever. The political whiplash, protect the market, expand the market. The timing makes this even sharper. Scutari is also backing a separate proposal, S3151, that would set up a pathway for the governor to enter interstate agreements for medicinal or adult use commercial cannabis once federal conditions are met or federal enforcement risk is lowered. So on one track, New Jersey is talking about scaling commerce beyond its borders. On another, it is flirting with putting handcuffs back into the consumer side of the equation. That contradiction exposes a subtext. This is less about legalization as a social policy and more about legalization as a tightly controlled marketplace. The state wants a regulated industry, fine, but when regulation starts to mean criminal penalties for the end user, it stops looking like reform and starts looking like brand new packaging on the same old war. What happens next? Well, S3171 has been introduced and referred to a committee in the 2026 session. That means nothing is back, quote, back yet, but the debate is worth having now before the framing hardens into something like, quote, if you oppose this, you support legal dealers, quote. You can oppose illicit market exploitation and still reject the idea that the right move is to criminalize the customer. Those are not in conflict. One is about targeting genuinely harmful conduct. The other is about using punishment as market share strategy. New Jersey already tried the punishment model. It did not create a safer market. It created a bigger justice system footprint. Legal weed was supposed to shrink that footprint, not reroute it to the consumer. Yeah, well, yeah. Aren't we legal yet? Okay, folks. I mean, it's 2026 now, and people need to realize it's a plant, a wonderful, wonderful plant. And yeah, WTF, New Jersey. We don't want to go backwards, guys. We do not want to go backwards. All right. Oh, home grow is now legal in the Czech Republic. What changes in 2026? Okay, here we go. The Czech Republic has taken another step in the long process of cannabis policy reform. As of January 2026, the country has legalized the home growing of up to 3 plants for personal use, according to the Canna Reporter. This measure reinforces its profile as one of the most regulatory frameworks in Europe, although it is still far from a fully regulated market. The change does not imply full decriminalization, but it does redefine which practices are no longer subject to penalties and which remain under criminal control. In a continent where the debate is progressing unevenly, the Czech decision once again raises questions about the boundaries between personal use, state control, and criminalization. As of January 1st, people over the age of 21 can grow up to 3 cannabis plants for personal use. They're indoors, in greenhouses, or outdoors, as long as there is no commercial. While weed possession has been decriminalized since 2010, meaning you weren't imprisoned for carrying small amounts, although fines or other administrative consequences were still possible. There were no clearly defined goals in the country to prevent ambiguity in enforcement. Today, the law clearly establishes the permitted possession limits, a key point for avoiding such ambiguities. Up to 100 grams of dried cannabis at home is legal. Well, okay. Up to 25 grams in public spaces is legal without penalty. Home cultivation of up to 3 plants for personal. But what if they're just gargantuan and you just yield so much more? These limits aim to draw a clear line between personal and other behaviors that remain criminalized, reducing discretionary enforcement. In other words, it represents a practical, albeit partial, form of legalization because it permits specific quantities that previously could be subject to administrative interpretation or penalties, depending on the circumstances. Sanctions crimes and prohibited sales. The new legal framework does not eliminate sanctions entirely. Growing more plants than allowed still carries consequences, which vary depending on the quantity involved. If you grow 4 or 5 plants, you'll have to pay a fine, as it is classified as an administrative offense. If you grow 6 or more, it's considered a crime. Furthermore, home cultivation is not, at least for now, accompanied by a legal market for adult use. The sale of recreational weed remains prohibited, especially the sale of products with more than 1% THC, as clarified by official sources. This point marks a key difference compared to other regulatory models and makes it clear that the Czech state has chosen to recognize individual rights without yet enabling commerce. Europe activism and what's next. With this measure, the Czech Republic joins countries like Germany, Malta, and Luxembourg, expanding the European map of countries where home grow is no longer a crime. Although the models differ, the common denominator is a shift toward less punitive policies. This change did not come out of nowhere. Oh, hi, little bear. Possession of a small amount of weed has been decriminalized since 2010, and the medicinal cannabis has been legal since 2013, demonstrating a gradual, sustained evolution of the regulatory framework. For local cannabis activists, this step is not the end of the line. According to international ICBC, social movements will continue to promote growing associations and regional pilot projects for regulated trade, a discussion that remains open in much of Europe. Between tangible advances and ongoing limitations, the Czech Republic is consolidating a clear political message. Growing for personal use is no longer a crime, but market regulation remains the next major battleground. Okay. I still always ask the question, if you can only have 100 grams and you're growing 3 plants, don't you think that somebody might grow more than that in their 3 plants? I seem to think so. I think that's the point. Just, I guess, for personal use, you can grow whatever the heck you want. It doesn't say that it isn't, though. So you got to be really careful, I guess. There's always that gray line.
Bring you back from a happy, healthy life? Get on the right track with Tumbleweeds Health Center. Our CBD products are formulated to fit your health lifestyle.
I would definitely say that CBD has changed my life. I mean, I don't worry about my dog anymore, and I don't worry about sleeping anymore.
Tumbleweeds Health Center, voted #1 health center in Tucson, has created a proprietary number of CBD blends, each designed to promote health and well-being. Let Tumbleweeds Health Center show you how CBD products might help you improve your life the natural way.
Yep. Give us a call, 520-838-4430. We did move. We were at Broadway and Swan. Now we're at Speedway and Wilmot, right next to Bookman's. And if you know, you know. And I'm over here having fun with these silly little emojis. So don't mind me on my chat session. I'm over here by myself playing with emojis, which I find just very entertaining. Okay. What else is going on in the world of weed? If you have any news, I was going to say call in, but you can't call in anymore. They don't let you. Not on YouTube. Well, I mean, I guess they probably do, but I don't have enough. I don't know. I don't have enough whatever to get to that status. I don't know how to use this. I'm just doing this live because I'll figure it out someday. All right. This is from hightimes.com, their magazine online. Indy, you look like you got taller. All right. This is an article that says, what 900 veterans taught me about cannabis, pain, and the cost of staying alive. The moment that changed me happened in our office in Central Florida. I remember one veteran who stayed behind after his evaluation, sitting on the couch in the lobby. He talked about the years he'd spent trying to manage pain and PTSD with whatever prescription were handed his way. What surprised him that day wasn't the assistance with paperwork or the registration process. It was the simple fact that someone was willing to guide him through it without asking for anything in return. He talked about never feeling judged and feeling heard for the first time, and that someone truly cared about his well-being. It was the bill he didn't have to pay that day. The look in his eyes said, "Why are these people being so nice to me?" is absolutely priceless, and I wish more people would get involved to experience this overwhelming sense of appreciation. He told me he'd been saving for weeks and that he'd been putting off getting certified for months because money was tight. The bills had lined up, and whatever was left at the end of each pay period was already spoken for. By the time he came to me, he was down to less than $30 in his checking account, and the idea of adding another expense just wasn't possible. The cost of the appointment would have wiped him out completely. When he realized it was covered, no charge, no catch, no veteran discount, quote, marketing gimmick, his whole body loosened. That was the day I understood how deep this problem runs. Access isn't just about medicine. For many veterans, it's about dignity, survival, and the basic ability to breathe without choosing which bill won't get paid this month. I've helped more than 8,000 people navigate medical cannabis in Florida. Of those, 900 plus were veterans who received their certifications entirely free. Every one of those stories has shaped the way I see this work, and everyone has made it impossible to pretend the system isn't failing them. And that's what 900 Conversation reveals about the system. After spending years in exam rooms and waiting areas with veterans, you start to notice the parallels. Different branches, different deployments, different decades, but the emotional through lines show up again and again in the pauses, the way they brace themselves before speaking, the way exhaustion settles into a person over time. There's the Marine who hasn't slept more than 2 hours in a stretch since 2007. The Army medic who carries pain in his back the other way people carry keys. The Air Force vet who can't stand fireworks anymore but pretends for his kids. The countless people who were given opioids for free month after month while being told cannabis was too risky or unproven. The stories differ, but the obstacles don't. The most common barrier is money. State programs cost anywhere from $150 to more than $400 a year once you add up doctor visits and required fees. That's a number plenty of people can absorb, but not someone living on disability income, not someone who is one missed paycheck away from sleeping in their car, not someone whose PTSD has cost them jobs, relationships, and a sense of normalcy the rest of us take for granted. Roughly 1 in 4 people who don't have housing are veterans, and their suicide rate is more than 2 times higher than that of others. Those facts should alone make financial barriers a national priority, but they're not. And that means the pressure ends up on the people who are already dealing with more than most of us realize. A lot of people assume this work is one directional, that I'm the one helping them. The truth is, the lessons run both ways. I've met veterans who walked into my office so tense they shook through the whole appointment, then sat in their car for an hour afterwards because they didn't want to be around people. I've met others who spent years white-knuckling their way through trauma because they didn't want to become another statistic in a system they felt abandoned by. I've seen what happens when cannabis gives them the first moment of quiet they've felt in years. Not a miracle cure, not a magic fix, just enough relief to let them sleep through the night, enough clarity to show up for their families, enough calm to imagine a future that isn't shaped entirely by the past. People talk about supporting veterans like it's a slogan, but when you witness how hard they fight just to get their head above water, you understand why the phrases need to be more than something printed on a discounted flyer every November. I think about the first veteran in the lobby a lot, and the many cents who told me things like, I feel human again. It saved my marriage. My family sees and feels the positive change. I can finally sit through a movie with my kids. I'm not waking up in panic every night. I'm sleeping through the night for the first time in years. I'm completely off all prescriptions the VA was sending me to help. There aren't big These aren't big or unrealistic goals. They're basic human needs. And the idea that someone has to choose between that relief and paying a light bill is something no one should be comfortable with. If our country is going to ask people to serve, we owe them more than appreciation posts and holiday promotions. We owe them a healthcare pathway that doesn't feel like another gauntlet to survive. And until cannabis receives the federal recognition it deserves, we need people inside the system willing to remove the barriers that shouldn't exist in the first place. This is where nonprofits play a crucial role. Filling the gap with essential care is out of reach. For veterans in Florida, that means eliminating the cost of accessing medical cannabis so they aren't shut off out of the program meant to support them. And the truth is, no one should have to build a nonprofit to fix something this straightforward. But until policy catches up, we fill the gaps where we can. Where we go from here? Well, after 900 free certifications and thousands of conversations, my beliefs are pretty simple. No veteran should ever have to pay for access to medical cannabis, not for the appointment, the paperwork, the state fee, not even their medicine. They've already paid more than enough for their service, their sacrifices, and the years may have spent trying to rebuild themselves afterward. I don't pretend cannabis solves everything, but I've seen what happens when veterans finally get legal access without the fear of financial costs. It's calmer nights more stability, less reliance on medications that can dull more than they help. For some folks, it's the first moment they feel anything is finally helping. Real change happens when more people in this country decide that helping veterans isn't a marketing angle, it's a responsibility. They've already paid the price of service. The least we can do is stop making relief another thing they have to earn. Oh, exactly. Wow. And look at that. We are at the end of the show with that. Cannabis should be legal and accessible to everybody on this planet. And that's what I have to say about that. Yeah. Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. How did that get turned down? Turn you back up. We love being here for you each and every week. I love reading about stories. I learned about different things in the world weed myself each and every week. Remember, 338 days until Christmas, 339 until it's over. Happy Weedsday Wednesday. Be smart, be safe, and educate. Have a wonderful day, you guys out there. Be kind to each other. Let all the negative go. Be nice to each other. Yeah, like Dr. Pepper's new slogan. Boy, did this lady get lucky. Ooh, baby, whatever's nice and good. Doesn't even make any sense. Happy Weeds Day.
If you